Does money buy happiness?
I don't think so. I was never given money. I never came from money. Professional services is not sexy, never has been. And if something isn't getting done quickly, that certainly frustrates me anyway.
All right, we are here with Mitch the Taxman, TikTok extraordinaire, and Instagram now as well. So Mitch, obviously, thank you so much for coming down. Obviously, I've known you for many, many years. And it's not just taxes that we do. There's so many different things that you do. So tell me one thing. Who is Mitch Young?
Yeah? Mitch Young as a person?
Yeah, as a person.
I've just turned 40.
40? Don't look a day over 21.
Yeah, no, thanks. I'm a family man.
Yeah.
At heart. Wife, 3 kids and a dog.
Yeah.
And I'm passionate about sports.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah.
Futsal is my new game.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So that's good. And an entrepreneur at heart.
Yeah. So obviously the main thing here is obviously, this wasn't built overnight. Your TikTok following, your Instagram following has taken time. But prior to all of that, Fusion Consulting Group, Fusion Accountancy was all being born. So obviously, I want to know, how was that set up? Obviously, were you in a corporate job prior to that, or what were you doing before that?
Yeah, so I was probably the youngest tax partner in the UK.
Okay.
So that means you've reached the top of your career in tax. So I was appointed a partner at the age of 25 at a sort of small firm locally. Mm-hmm. Got that partly through the creation of Mitch the Taxman, mm-hmm. And that got a lot of media attention, built up my client base, so they made me a partner. And then from that, I got headhunted into a more senior partnership position, so 60 partner practice in London. Mm-hmm. I was the young guy, try and change the image. I like to say, try and change the smell of the place, because a lot of accountancy practice traditionally, quite old school. Mm-hmm. So I was there. And then what happened was, my client of mine, who was an entrepreneur in the tech IT space, he sold his business. Mm-hmm. I was advising him on all the tax side of exiting his business. And then he spent a lot of time with me after his exit and said, look, Mitch, I know you're quite entrepreneurial. Yeah. Why don't we combine our skill set? Mm-hmm. We saw a bit of a gap in the market in the professional services arena. Why don't we set up our own thing? Yeah. So I thought, at the time, I was 30, so without being too big-headed, I thought, well, if it all goes completely wrong, I'll just walk into another accountancy practice. Yeah. So I resigned from the partnership, mm-hmm. Nearly got divorced, and we set up Fusion.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
Bit of tongue in cheek, but yeah. so that was sort of 8.5 years ago now.
So it could have all gone horribly wrong, but it didn't go wrong. So, but you took that risk, and literally there was only yourself. You're only backing yourself, basically. So I guess that leads me to the question: risk or stability?
Well, I mean, I think obviously a bit of both. I think for us, we were risk takers, but we were setting it up on the back of my following. Yeah. So I had a stable client following, as you know, and they thankfully were very loyal to me, and all came over pretty much day one. Yeah. So there was risk there, mm-hmm. Because there was no guarantee that the clients were all going to come over, but there was a bit of stability in the sense that was there. But if you ask most accountants or tax advisors in my situation, if you probably ask 99% of of tax advisors in my situation, they probably wouldn't have taken that risk. I think any entrepreneur is more associated with risk, because you need that to set up any business.
So what actually, was there a eureka moment, or what actually made you take the jump in setting up your own business? So going from a stable partner to now going into something brand new. Obviously you did have some backing, but what made you take that risk?
Yeah, I think for me, I had that all throughout my career, well, certainly when I was building my own client base, everyone said, "Oh, you're Mitch the Taxman. Just go and do it by yourself. You don't need anyone," type thing. But I guess being brought up quite traditionally in the sense of, right, this is the path that you follow all the way to the top, and then when you reach sort of the top, you're like quite happy with that to some extent. That I didn't have the confidence at the time to do it by myself. I think I always believed that because of the client base I was building, the network that I was building, who I was, that opportunities were going to come my way through my clients and the people that I knew. And I understood my business partner. I had seen his businesses inside out, and I'd seen what type of a person he was, that I knew that his skill set is this and my skill set is that. So combining them both, that was the opportunity that I thought would make the business really successful. Yeah,
okay. And you mentioned obviously, having, wife, kids. How hard has that been when setting up like this, well, now global, empire, I want to say? So it's obviously been a long time coming, but you're now, almost in international waters now. So how has it been difficult to manage everything, like manage your time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's very rewarding having kids. I'm very thankful to have kids. But yes, it is very challenging. I mean, being your own boss, in one hand, gives you the flexibility to help out when you need to help out. I guess part of the issue in working with a top accountancy firm or a top law firm or something like that is that you might be glued to your desk a bit, and it is hard to help out or have family time. But I ensure that I do have that family time, because I want to be there for bath times when I can, and go to football training, and balance the time. So I have been able to balance the time as we've grown, delegate. So I've got to make sure, one of the challenges in business, obviously recruitment, but making sure you have a good team that you can delegate. So I like to think that I'm moderately well balanced in terms of juggling. But yes, it is a challenge, but I'm quite good at compartmentalizing different things in my life.
So what type of boss are you then?
I like to say I put faith in people. I delegate up until a point. I like to inspire my team. I'm not like gonna keep my fingers on everything. And I want people to step up. And I put a lot of faith in the team. Obviously lead by example, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, because you don't know. You don't know if sometimes you can push someone a bit outside of their comfort zone. And for a lot of people that's good, some people it's bad. So
what has been the biggest challenge in obviously setting up Fusion, and like what has been the biggest thing that you faced where you felt like, oh my god, this is all over?
Well, I mean, Fusion, the concept of Fusion is that we're a professional services group. So we're sort of flagshipped by our taxation business, which is award winning and all this type of stuff. But the idea is to provide an entrepreneur and private client with, like, I like to call it a mini family office or a private office. So I'm a firm believer that the next gen of entrepreneur, they don't have the time, they don't have the patience, they can't be asked to go round and find a lawyer over there that tries to speak to their accountant, and then they're trying to get tax advice, and that's not going to work in modern day society. So we've been essentially building 8 different companies, 8 different regulations, 8 different staffings over X many offices, and piecing it all together. And we have made mistakes along the way, and I think almost the biggest challenge is recruitment, as I've alluded to. Finding the right people in those right organisations, the heads leading it, and then piecing it all together. Is highly challenging.
Do you feel like the staff turnaround is quite high, and what do you feel like is missing from the current crop of like graduates and candidates that is maybe stopping them from coming to work for Fusion?
Yeah, well, I think professional services is not sexy, never has been. But it's sort of our generation. It was still very much go to school, go to uni, get a good job, be an accountant, like whatever, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the kids are exposed to so much education through the internet. That they're not, I can't say for certain, but I doubt more traditional professional jobs like accountancy, taxation, even law, financial advice, is as exciting, because on a positive, I think kids are more sort of business focused nowadays, and they want to do things which are more exciting. And I think the next generation of entrepreneurs, will be trying things out at a younger age. I mean, I even see my son who's 11. He's like, oh yeah, I think this would be a good business idea. I can make money doing this. I can make money doing that. So yeah, I think it's more that there's a lack of good graduates or school leavers who want to go into accountancy, let's say.
So what do you think needs to change in your industry or in schooling to make I want to say bring sexy back basically to the
I don't know if it was ever sexy back in terms of accountancy. I mean, for us, certainly me, being it wasn't the school that did anything. I mean, the schools do very little, really. It's like you plod along and you're doing your GCSEs. Why am I doing my GCSEs? Oh, because I'm told to do my GCSEs. Oh, why am I doing maths, or why am I doing history? Because I sort of like it. And then it's not till you sort of get to sixth form or 16 to 18 you have like one or two careers discussions with some random person, and they're like, what would you like to do? No, I want to be a footballer. Like, well, what are you going to say when you're 16? So it's all rubbish, really, in terms of from what I can remember. I don't know what it is now, but certainly there needs to be a greater understanding of the different professions that one can go into at a younger age, get more experience at a younger age, and obviously the education wise understand what business is, what finance is, what mortgages are, etc., all that type of stuff, which will need to come in and should come in.
Do you think that there's, like, obviously you touched upon mortgages, and obviously my first mortgage, it was like a minefield. Like, it was very difficult for me to navigate that way around. Obviously that was a very long time ago. But do you feel like things like that, and finance especially, because that's obviously what you're very big on, do you feel like that should be taught at school, at very least college, but definitely school, like pre-GCSE? Do you feel like that's quite an important thing that we're missing out on?
Oh yeah, I think so, and completely. Nowadays, like, how is anyone a normal kid, or young adult going to afford a property? Coming out of university or anything like that, it's going to be very difficult. So they're going to need to understand debt, and also from a business perspective, there's a lot of our clients, we're educating about debt as an option, in terms of raising money, what that means, debt versus equity. That's something that we're in the midst of our own buy and build strategy, purchasing other accounting firms, etc. So the use of debt in the right way and understanding it is very important in life.
Obviously, and you touched upon obviously your son, coming up with these business ideas and stuff like that. What were you like when you were growing up?
I like to say that my generation and a lot of my friends, we were sort of like in Care Bear land, in the sense of, not exposed to anything. You know, obviously the internet wasn't around up until, you know, I don't know, I was probably 16 or something.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're just going through life, not really knowing anything, going to school, playing football.
Yeah.
You know, just going through life without any type of experience.
Yeah.
So, you know, I certainly was not entrepreneurial as a kid or understood anything like that. I was just, you know, head down. Well, I played a lot of football, but just, you know, just getting by.
Yeah. And like, in terms of what you would say to kind of this current generation growing up, like, is social media kind of a bad thing you feel for, you know, for your business or even for other businesses? But do you feel like that's creating a bit of a problem, like in terms of, like, again, recruitment is one, but just do you feel like there's too much information out there?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, there's huge amounts of information. You know, social media is a good thing on the whole, but you know, there is a rise of influencers who, you know, just repeat. You know, I've seen it on my stuff. You know, they're just sort of repeating what I may say, which is, you know, which is fine in a sense that I break it down just to general bits so you can get an idea. But then if you start using that person who's not qualified to give advice, then that is where you know, issues may happen. I've noticed it particularly in the property space. So there's, you know, loads and loads of these property type of advisors or coaches, you know, that you know, one should just be wary. You know, the sensible thing is to do is obviously, you know, check who they are, check their profiles. And obviously it depends what type of advice that you're looking for. But, you know, I have it all the time. You know, people contacting me saying, oh, I saw this thing on social media and I've looked at these 3 accounts and we can do this and we can't do that. You know, and they're trying to piece together bits of a puzzle, which is complex. Yeah.
But you've now put that puzzle all together, I feel, with all the different kind of things that people need now. So do you feel like, did you know that you needed to build this puzzle from the off? Like, was your goal very clear? Did you have that strategy that when you set up Fusion, that, right, we need to start bringing everything over a long-term period? So were you long-term planning?
Not, in all honesty, you know, I always believed, even before Fusion, that this is where professional services is heading. I used to have meetings with the managing partners of my last practices and say, look, we should be offering more. Because the clients want that as a trusted advisor. When we set up Fusion, you know, there was an immediate need to build the business. So we didn't, within the 90-day plan or the first, you know, 18 months, you know, go on a journey to create the full suite of professional services. It was very much, right, because we started with 0, right? So it was very much, right, let's grow the tax business first and foremost, because that is what, you know, I was obviously specialising in, and the marketing. And then Adam was like, he'd get some non-exec type roles. So it's very much, let's build those areas and then review. Hopefully we've brought in some good business and it's stable, and then build the next one, get that one done, onto the next one, get that one done, until we've built the platform.
So I think that's really important. You've said, so basically, like, used money, reinvested it, and grown and grown and grown and grown, and you've got to where you are now. Has there been any point where you felt like, you know, that goal is too far outside, you're not going to be able to achieve it?
No, I mean, we've always had a stern belief that we're going to achieve what we need to achieve. You know, like myself and Adam are very focused, and we believe in ourselves, and nothing we'll find an answer to everything. I think obviously a challenging point in time for us was during COVID, the first lockdown. You know, obviously professional services is relatively protected against most things, but what happened is that we were in our second office in Edgware, and we outgrew it. So then we took a new office in Finchley, a bigger office. We kitted it all out, you know, spent you know, like 6 figures probably on that deal, ready to do the launch party for the staff. and that was on the, I can't remember the exact date, the 19th of March.
Oh, eve of COVID, basically.
So,
yeah.
You know, the day before we were going to move into that office, lockdown.
Oh, my
so we had, I think it was 6 months. It was either 6 or 4 months left to pay off Edgware, and then we just started the new lease on Finchley, and it was complete lockdown.
Oh, and it was like double
rent.
bills,
you know, no one
double
in.
bills.
Obviously, have to pivot to work from home and everything, which we had the systems to do. But that was tough to take. But you know, obviously we're here to
come out stronger.
to tell the story.
Yeah. Would you say that was the toughest moment in the rise of Fusion, or has there been like more tough moments where?
There's been loads of tough moments, you know, but that was a particularly that was tough to take. But yeah, there's been moments with senior people leaving the business, or us. We've had to change the management team. I think 2 cycles out of the 8 years as we've gone on. So yeah.
So obviously, what keeps you motivated day to day?
I think it's just I want to achieve something for legacy purposes.
Yeah.
I want to, you know, I was never given money or anything like this. I never came from money. Everything I've achieved, you know, I've done by myself. My whole career I've done by myself, and I want to ensure that build a good future for my family and the next generation, so that they can live their lives and have the opportunities that they want to do.
So, what is the dream?
I think we want to have a capital event, so that means you know, selling our business probably within the next 5 years.
Okay.
And you know, we want to make enough money to ensure my, you know, long-term legacy secured for the family, but then have 10 years of my life to do what I want to do.
Yeah. And what is it that you want to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't got a sort of written
bucket
out
list
plan, but you know, I want to set up my own foundation, so I could do more charitable work, certainly, and then I want to do something in sports, probably football and coaching. I want to probably have a bar. That's fun. And then I want to do some family businesses, like my grandpa, who's no longer with us. He was a butcher.
Oh wow!
So I want to get a butcher's shop just to you know, commemorate him. And then, you know, just invest in young entrepreneurs. But you know, that 10 years of just having that energy and freedom, just to not mess around, but you know, just do the things that you're however passionate I am about tax, you know, like at the end of the day, it's a means to an end. It's a means to it. That's what I've carved my job out. What do I like about tax? I like the fact that I can help people. I can help people pay the right amount of tax, not overpay. I can help them deal with HMRC. I can help them protect their legacies for their family. That's all very positive stuff for me, and that's what I like about doing my job, my career today. Yeah.
So obviously you mentioned like multiple other businesses that are just like coming out. Have you ever, prior to Fusion, did you ever think that, oh, actually, I might just want to open a butcher shop, forget tax?
Yeah, I did, but I you know, I couldn't see in my mind, you know, I wasn't sophisticated as a businessman at the time. I couldn't see a path to make money. You know, it's all about, for me, it's about the building blocks in life to get you to where you want to get to. And, you know, for me, you know, whether that's, you know, right or wrong, I'm very money focused in the sense of, you know, I need to get to there so I can do X, Y, and Z.
Does money buy happiness?
I don't think so. I think it certainly, you know, helps to a percentage of like stress in your mind, so you don't have to think about money, whatever that little percentage is. But you know, outside factors in terms of, you know, family, health, you know, friends and your other passions, it all weighs up, you know, a sphere in your life. So I think ultimately it does to a percentage, but in a majority of cases that percentage isn't big enough for it to give you total happiness.
So, if you got the chance to do it all again, would you do it all again?
I think I certainly don't have any regrets in terms of my career in accountancy and what I've achieved.
Yeah.
Would I choose to be an accountant or tax professional if I did it all again? I'm not 100% sure, but certainly from my career path to what I've achieved, you know, you can't really have more of a interesting ride and ultimately make a success out of it. But it's the big decisions at the key moments in your career that you have to have the balls to make. And I don't think many people would have made the decisions I made at the times I did.
Okay. And then obviously, you know, again, circling back to family and stuff, do you feel like you now want, because you're so established and you feel like you've got such a successful business and it's doing so well, do you ever feel like, you know what, maybe I'm not giving enough time to my family?
No, certainly not me. I'm one of these guys which are actually quite hands-on. So, you know, every morning, you know, before the gym, not that I go to the gym every morning, as you can, you know, see. It's like, don't have the guns like you have yet, but yeah, I'm more sort of, you know, high interval training. But so I might get the breakfast ready, get the clothes ready, go to the gym, come back, you know, make sure the kids are dressed, help out with my older son. He's got a few mental health conditions, but help out with him a little bit, then go to work. And then, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm back around 5ish, taking them to they've all got different football trainings, so I'm involved in the football trainings. Friday night, family dinner. Saturday and Sunday, it's just logistics everywhere. So, you know, I'm actually pretty like full on.
They've got a better social life than you, haven't they?
Oh yeah.
Parties, coaching.
Yeah, all of that. I mean, Thursdays are my day where I try and get into town. I try and meet with clients. You know, do some entertaining in the evenings. So that sort of carved out the Thursday slot for me and that type of stuff.
Do you feel like, well, actually, let's go back to the football coaching. Are you a screamer on the side? Do you like, come on, son, let's go?
Well, I certainly was when I was managing and coaching my team and adults. I certainly am a screamer. With the kids, actually, on the whole, I'm not. You know, because I just they hate it. They hate it if any parents are screaming. Certainly, if I'm screaming, it puts them off. They get frustrated. They get a bit embarrassed, and I think it's much better to be silent and let the coach do the talking. I also think I have coached them throughout their journeys in their you know Sunday league teams, and you know they perform better when there's someone else that's coaching them than me. I don't know if that's anything to do with my coaching ability or just being their dad, but no, I really don't like parents screaming. So I don't. Sometimes you can't control yourself, obviously. But generally, I do try and bite my tongue.
And like, this could be like a general question, but what frustrates you? That could be in business, in work. It could be day to day. It could be kids. Like, what do you find the most frustrating?
Well, I think certainly from a business perspective, you know, not getting tasks done when you want them done. You know, obviously, as the business owner and the boss, you want things done quickly. Particularly when it comes to, you know, contracts and sales and getting letters of engagements out and things like that. You want that done quickly, and if something isn't getting done quickly, that certainly you know, frustrates me anyway. And in life, I think, you know, parenting, you know, there's a lot of frustrations. I think, you know, you learn very quickly, you know, because I do think parenting this generation of children, you know, is very different and difficult to what our parents had to deal with with us. Like, you know, this really tests your patience, and you know, I've learned to be very, very patient. You know,
yeah.
obviously there's a lot of frustration when you're asking your child to do something and they're not doing it. So, and that frustration, you know, you have to just keep inside of you and be very patient and supportive. That's what I've learned in terms of dealing with frustration when parenting.
Do you feel like being a parent helps you in business?
I think a little bit. I think, you know, always learning new techniques, which is good. And we've spent some time with you know, a counsellor through my son, and you know, learning about, you know, patience and supporting, and you know, trying to get the best out of different people with so I think to some degree it does. I think, you know, if you're just, you know, being a parent the same as you're being a boss, you know, like that's you're not really learning much or applying different techniques. So I think what we've learned, certainly I'm applying to some extent to certain people and characteristics within the team.
And final bits, what words of wisdom would you be giving to Gen Z or the next generation?
Well, I think from a professional, anyone that's watching this who is interested in the career of tax and accounting or law, which, you know, there's probably not a few, but you know, look, I mean, I do loads of talks to the institute and everything else, because, you know, at the end of the day, I am the leading UK tax influencer on social media, and the thing is that it is very much, even nowadays, about your network. You know, who is in your network? Are you the go-to person within whatever it is? Become, if this is not the only reason on how to be successful, but if you want a base to become successful, become the go-to person.
So keep plodding on, just definitely don't quit, basically, and just keep following your ambition, and just make sure you are the man, basically.
Make it happen. Build the networks, and build the outer skirts around it. When I first was doing Mitch the Taxman, you know, it was on Twitter, and I just started following loads of journalists, loads of newspaper reporters, and then loads of ex-footballers, and just then constantly sending them messages saying, hey, if you need anything or need any quotes, let me know. And then slowly I got loads of PR stuff, got in the Daily Times, and it just sort of skyrocketed. So, you know, think outside the box as well, and just believe it can happen. You know, visualize as well. Like when I was playing football, make it sound like I'm like an ex-footballer, but like visualization I think is really key, and this can be applied to life as well. So you know, before a match you can think about like hurling the ball in the top corner, how you're going to score. That would give you optimum belief, and then you'll probably go out and do it. Same in business. Have that visualization. If you think you're going to have, you know, 2 million followers, you know, have that visualization. If you think you're going to sell your business for 100 million, have that visualization of signing that contract. You know, and that's all positive stuff, positive beliefs. Everyone needs a lot of positivity in life, certainly at the moment. So it's you know, be positive.
See, I knew you said something like that, so I made a t-shirt for you.
Thank you.
And this is what you are. This is Mitch, real boss, and obviously he doesn't quit, so that's for you to take away.
Thank you, mate.
For your next I mean, you're probably more muscly than that.
No, maybe extra small. Extra small, nice and tight. Thank you.
So you can take that away, and I obviously wish you all the best. We're going to follow your journey, and hopefully we'll be seeing you again very, very soon.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Right. No worries. Sean, did you want to jump in?
Hey, how you doing? So, you were speaking earlier about like you'd love to be able to do more of like charity and stuff like that. Is there anything that's kind of close to your heart in regards to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many different great charities and causes to support. There's a few things which are very close to my heart, so it's going to be difficult to actually break down. The idea is to really the ultimate idea is really to create a foundation and then have you know, multiple strands where we can support. But as I said, we've got to flesh it out. But certainly dementia is one. So all my grandparents suffered from dementia. So, hopefully they're relatively close to finding the cure for that. So that would be very good. So that's something that I'd like to support. My son suffers from anxiety, and I think mental health for this generation of kids, particularly that went through the pandemic and everything else. I think we're going to see even more kids suffering from mental health. So certainly supporting children as through their schooling and mental health and all of that type of stuff. And then finally, from a religion perspective, I'd like to do something that brings a lot of understanding of different religions together, which is obviously, a very difficult task, but I want to do that through sport. So, haven't sort of, got concrete plans, but these are just high level things of what I'm thinking about.
I think it's wonderful. So you spoke about like mental well-being and your son. Do you mind like touching on that? Have you sought out, I mean, by the sounds of things, you would have sought out like different methods in helping him. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, so he suffers from severe anxiety. So he's been diagnosed with severe anxiety, dyspraxia, and possible ADHD. So he sometimes struggles to go into school. He can get overwhelmed and start pushing his brothers or us and things like that. So but at school, when he's in school, he's tremendously well behaved. So it's called masking. So it doesn't necessarily get picked up at school and at the home. So it's actually very difficult to try and sort out as a parent. So we now have a private therapist that he sees twice a week. He has a private psychiatrist who, so he's on a low dose of a medication for anxiety. And there's occupational therapists as well. So, and he has a key worker at school. So there's, a whole big team that go into supporting him. And myself and my wife have attended different parenting courses to understand how to parent, kids that have those types of conditions as well.
I see. You sound like a wonderful, wonderful parent. Are there? So we spoke about like therapy and stuff, and I'm sure that's very intense to an extent. Is there also, like, you see things like fidgets and stuff, maybe that other people might be able to sort out if they find it hard doing like therapy? Yeah,
exactly. So he's got a fidget pass at school. So he's got a few fidgets. He's allowed to use his computer at school rather than writing through his dyspraxia as well. So he likes that as well. And he's got this pass that if he gets overwhelmed, he can leave the lesson as well. So yeah, I mean, there's so much to it. It's quite overwhelming at times, but you just got to do everything you can, really.
What would you like to say to someone who's going through the exact sort of journey like as you?
Yes, it is very difficult. I think from there is something called CAMS, which you need to get referred to by either the school or the doctor that you can do. Otherwise, it is difficult to get something through the NHS. So certainly for this type of thing. So maybe just start with an initial assessment. You can get an assessment, but also the council might be good in terms of putting groups together. So there's something called dealing with kids with anger management issues and things like that. So maybe speak to your council if you don't want to go down the private route.
That's wonderful. And obviously you spoke about like religion and stuff earlier, and kind of like bringing people together through like sports and like bringing like a community together. How would you, like, say in 5 years time, how would you envision that actually going?
I don't know. I mean, that's like an impossible task in itself. I think as again, I haven't put huge amounts of thought into it, but I guess you would need the support of synagogues, local synagogues, churches, mosques, and then schools, Most likely, but and then having a premises, your own sort of clubhouse or something where you can base things at. So yeah, I think my vision would be to create a space, and then get schools and religious people involved, and then create some type of sports teams, and then like either before or after a game, or during the week, just just throw in slight bits of education within that. But I don't know if that is ultimately ever going to be achieved, but I think you can use sport to break down barriers.
What does faith mean to you? Like, I know there's like a morality level, but like, to you, how do you conduct it? Because I think we all have faith, and although there's like rules as such and things in place, but there's our own element of it as well. So what would you say that was for you?
I think ultimately it's a blind faith. So you either believe in a God or you don't, and the more you question that, there's not going to be an ultimate answer. So it's just a blind faith, and that's just what it is.
Do you think it motivates you to want to do better, be better, and help others do so?
Well, I think most religions are governed by a set of clear guidance on how you should act as a person, and ultimately, like the Ten Commandments, for argument's sake, that is a sort of a 10 rule set of beliefs in terms of how one should live your life. So I think a set of basic guidance is good to follow and live your life by.
You seem like someone who has very high like values and morals. Do you think that's something that's like helped you succeed?
I think so. At the end of the day, I try and ultimately treat people with respect. I try and listen. I think I'm a good people's person, and I think people see that in me, which is why I can build my client base and build the business to the levels and what we've built.
You've been so lovely to talk to. Thank you so much.
Thank you.